My name is Jenna Graves. I am a sophomore at George Mason University, and originally I am from Roanoke, Virginia. One of the girls, Abby, who's in my group this week, I went to NICAP last year, and I'm leading the trip this year for Mason. She messages me on Facebook and says, "Hey, I'm interested in NICAP. Why should I go?" And she starts asking me all these questions like, what do you mean we talk about racial reconciliation? And to be honest, you don't really know until you get here. It's kind of kept a surprise, which is good because it pushes you. And so she was like asking me all these questions, and I'm like, I don't know what to say. And then I was just kind of like, Abby, you keep asking a lot of questions. You should probably just come. And she's like, okay, yeah. And we were like talking about that yesterday. If you're on the borderline and you're like, well, what does it mean to actually work with the homeless? I don't even know if I should be doing that. I kind of want to go to Cancun. You should probably just come. If the Lord has put it on your heart enough to linger and for you to really question it, you should probably come, because this is good and you're going to learn a lot. And I guarantee by the end of the week, you won't be questioning why you came. You'll know why you were here. So RECWek this year has been a little different. So last year I was faced with these facts like, okay, you're white and you're like, this is how to navigate through this. This is what the Lord cares about. He cares about social justice. And this year I came into this week thinking that being white was bad. Like I came in like hating myself.
So Jenna actually came to NICAP spring break 2015. And every week for the last 3 years, because of my own journey with God and with therapy and having conversations, reconciling things that have happened in the past so that I can be a better husband, be a better father, we've done modules where we write our own Psalm 88. So we bring our grief, our heartache, our pain to God, our sadness to Him. And I remember Jenna's piece from 2015, looking for her identity, seeking pleasure in the wrong places, standing up and confessing that to her and to the entire group. I remembered that. And as she was talking with me, with everyone watching, it's almost like everybody else kind of disappeared. And I felt that this might be a moment to really affirm her in her identity that I didn't get to do last year.
And like one of the things that I've really had a hard time dealing with is how to be white and not be angry with being white or hate being white. And so like knowing that the Lord cares for all people and we're all made in His image, I think that I have like lost like knowing that Jesus cares about white people too. I know that's like really weird, but like
it's not. No. See, what you're doing right now is like saying what you really, really feel, and then assuming that nobody understands, and then backing away from it. You don't have to do that.
Yeah. I really struggle with it, and I just say that I hate being white all the time, but that's also not of the kingdom, and so I just don't know how to be,
Okay. So can I push? Hold the mic. I'm gonna push you a little bit. Is that okay?
Yeah, please do.
Say your whole name.
My full name.
Yeah.
Jennifer Brooke Graves.
Say, I am Jennifer Brooke Graves.
I am Jennifer Brooke Graves.
I hate being white.
I hate being white.
Now, can you say this statement? I am Jennifer Brooke Graves, and I hate the way that God made me.
I'm not gonna say that.
Do you believe that?
No.
Right. But when you say you hate being white, you're saying that. That's not what you mean. Right? God actually made you white, and it wasn't a mistake. In the exact same way, He made me black, and it wasn't a mistake. In Psalm 139, He says, I am beautifully and fearfully and wonderfully made. And He knew me in my mother's womb. That means it was intentional that my skin is this color. Right? It's crazy. He didn't make a mistake. Right? He didn't make a mistake. It was intentional. When you knit something, it's intentional, because if you mess up, it doesn't work, right? But he knit you in your mother's womb, including the hue of your skin, right? Right? Say your own name again.
Jennifer Brooke Graves.
And God made me what?
And God made me white.
And I am good.
And I am good.
But, right, that's where the start. There's a redefinition that happens. And everything inside of us fights against it because we don't believe it to be true. Right? Some of you are like, oh my goodness, right now, right?
Yeah.
Because nobody ever told you, especially somebody who is black, right? Say, I'm glad you're white. Because Jesus, right? Jesus was born with privilege. Some of you think you got connections with your mom and dad to do stuff. Jesus, his father, is God. Right? Some of you are like, I have a black card. Jesus, his father, is God. Right? Some of you think, well, I could call somebody to take care of some things. Jesus said I could call on angels concerning me and they would come, right? Let's think about that for a second. What does he do with his privilege? Privilege is a fancy word for stuff that you got that you didn't do anything to get, that God has given you to give away. Okay? That's what it is. Privilege is stuff that you got that you ain't do nothing to get, that God has given you to give away. But listen, God made me with all the rights and privileges of the Son of God and also all of the oppression and stuff and the brokenness of this world, right? You're white. And it's good. Right? It's good.
I'm Jennifer Brooke Graves, and I'm good. And it is good that I'm white. And so just kind of like realizing that it wasn't a mistake that the Lord made me white, but that I actually like have a purpose in my race and in my color.
I did not know she was going to say that she hated being white. And as a black male, I know what it's like to hate how God made me. I know what it's like to wish that I was something else. I know what it's like to want to fit in so bad, but not be able to. I've had too many conversations with people who have a deep poverty of being. And when someone looked at me and said, Jonathan, I'm glad that you are black, and they were white, it changed something for me. When Priscilla, my wife, who is Chinese and Korean, says to me that she loves me in spite of, because of, and all these that, like, even though, like, I add all these caveats, but what she's saying, unadulterated and unattached from all of these qualifiers that I have, is that she loves me for all that I am. And to be able to communicate that to people is a deep privilege. And when Jenna opened her mouth and said that she hated being white, a connection was made for me that I don't think that she was making, was that when we say, I hate that I am white, or I hate this mole on my face, or I hate the color of my eyes, or I hate the way my hair is, like, what we're actually saying is that we hate the way that we were made. And the ridiculous standards of beauty, the ridiculous hurtful standards of physical appearances that we have in our visually stimulated world, and that we've always had, even before it was exacerbated by media, like, crushes the image of God in one another, and we internalize that. And so for me to be able to look at Jenna and say, you are loved by God. You are actually made in his image as a black male, not because I've sexualized her, not because I've eroticized her, not because I'm trying to get something from her, but because the Spirit of God affirms her identity even before she was, is a privilege. And I think that is what it means when we are to be ministers of reconciliation. And I am grateful that in that moment, prayerfully, she could be reconciled to God, and even the people who are watching to be reconciled to one another, to know that we were made to love and be loved, because there is a deep, abiding affection for us that God has, and he's invited us into that through Jesus, by the power of the Holy Spirit. So that was a special moment, and I'm grateful for Jenna's honesty and for God's Spirit moving, and also all of those people that invested in me to be able to do that.
Honestly, I think one of the coolest things as a group leader is seeing girls that I'm leading, like making that kind of like having that revelation that like they too are white and it's good, and that they should care about social justice issues, so we can take that back to our campus. So it's been pretty cool. And so it's just been really cool to see how like a white girl from Roanoke, Virginia in the mountains, who went to school with probably about 5 African Americans, is now so passionate about that race and like what it means to be white and what it means to be, you know, whatever it is that the Lord created us to be. And that is not a mistake, but that it is good.